Have you ever had a quiet month or two in your business and immediately thought, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not as good at this as I thought. Yep, me too. I have definitely had that tight feeling in my chest and questioned on far too many occasions whether I'm totally messing up. And it might not be because anything dramatic has happened or because the business is failing. It could just be that the numbers have dipped. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up again and again in mentoring sessions and conversations behind the scenes. Detaching your self-worth from your business results. Because bad months happen and they do not get to decide who you are as a business owner, a leader, or a VA. When you're a VA, especially if you're service-led and values-driven, it's very easy for business performance to feel personal. You care deeply. You pride yourself on being reliable. You've built your reputation on being brilliant for other people. And often you are the brand. So when work slows down, a client leaves, or revenue dips, it doesn't just feel like a business fluctuation. It can feel like a reflection of you. And I've absolutely been there. I remember one particular period a couple of years ago where on paper, everything looked fine. We had good clients, the team was solid, nothing was wrong as such, but we'd come out of a really strong run and then suddenly things felt flat. A couple of contracts ended close together, inquiries were quieter than usual, and I found myself lying awake at night, replaying decisions I'd made months earlier. And I wasn't thinking, yes, natural business cycles. I was thinking, have I screwed this up? Should I be doing more? Am I dropping the ball somewhere? Nothing had actually changed about my capability or experience, but my confidence took a knock anyway. And that's the danger. Because when we tie our self-worth to our results, we don't just feel worse, we start behaving differently. You might recognize some of this in overanalyzing every quiet week, doubting decisions you were confident about a month or two ago, panic pricing or discounting out of fear, working longer hours to prove yourself again, taking on work you know isn't right just to feel safe. And the frustrating part, you can be doing everything right and still have a slower period. I honestly don't think we talk enough about the fact that every business has seasonal dips, client churn, flat months, external factors you can't control, and phases of consolidation instead of growth. Even the businesses you admire, even the agency owners you think have it all figured out. The difference isn't whether they have bad months, it's how much meaning they attach to them. One of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me was learning to see results as data, not a verdict. A quieter month might mean a client cycle naturally ended. You've been focused on delivery, not marketing. You're in a transition phase. You've raised prices and need to recalibrate. Or it's just August or December or life. It does not automatically mean that you're failing, you're not cut out for this, you've lost your edge, you need to burn everything down. And yet our brains jump straight there. And I often say this to clients, and I try very hard to say it to myself too. If someone you respect told you they'd had a slow month, what would you think? I don't think you'd think they were incompetent. You wouldn't tell them to quit. You'd probably say something like, that's business. Let's look at what's going on. So why are we so brutal with ourselves? Another example from my own journey, and I know some of you will relate to this, is the first time a big contract came to an end. And I'm talking a contract of several hundred hours a month. Objectively, it made sense. The client's circumstances changed. It wasn't personal. But emotionally, it felt like a judgment. And I caught myself thinking, what could I have done differently? Should I have seen this coming? When actually, the reality was far simpler. businesses change and no contract lasts forever. And that experience taught me something really important. You cannot build a sustainable business if your self-esteem rises and falls with every contract and invoice. Leadership becomes exhausting if every dip feels like a personal failure. So, how do we start separating who we are from what has happened? Here are a few things that genuinely have helped me. First of all, you need to zoom out. 1 month tells you very little. 3 to 6 months starts to give you context. Patterns matter and blips don't. Second, make sure you review without judgment. Instead of asking, what did I do wrong? Change the language and try, what worked? What shifted? What was in my control? What wasn't? No shame, just strategy. And then thirdly, anchor your identity somewhere more solid than numbers. You are still skilled, experienced, resourceful, adaptable, and capable of navigating change. A spreadsheet doesn't get to take that away from you. This is especially important if you're leading a team, because when your confidence wobbles, everything downstream feels it. Detaching your worth doesn't make you careless. It makes you stable. And stability is one of the most underrated leadership skills there is. So, if you're listening to this and things feel slower, heavier, or wobblier than usual, I want you to remember, a bad month doesn't mean you're bad at business. It means you're in business. Growth isn't linear. Confidence isn't constant. And leadership doesn't require perfection. It requires resilience. So this week, when you look at your numbers, write one sentence that starts with, this month taught me, not this month proves. And notice how differently that lands. You're allowed to learn without labeling yourself. You're allowed to wobble without questioning everything. And you're allowed to be human while still being a very capable leader. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Visionary VA podcast. I'll be back on the 19th of February with the next episode. If you're handling some challenges in your VA business at the moment, do go back and check out episode 12, where I talk about the resilience, mindset, and solutions to help navigate this. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if you're looking for some one-to-one support on your journey as a VA business owner, you can explore all my mentoring options on the Viva website. I'll pop the link below. See you next time.